Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Give us the opportunity.
It didn't seem like you needed to reinforce that today. It seemed like he was doing that without.
Yeah, we made a kind of big, adjustment during practice this week, just giving the playmakers the ball whenever they need to. So we definitely made some big plays out there.
I love it. I love this week 10 epiphany that everyone's had. Like, oh man, we should. You know what we should do? Oh man, before the season slips away, we should throw the ball to Justin Jefferson. Let's try it. Let's try that and see how it works. Oh, shocking! It worked. It worked. What a surprise.
We should do what everybody on their couch has been telling us to do for 9 weeks. In week 10, we're going to adopt the fan game plan. Like it's literally like it's a sponsored game plan. Brought to you by Surly Brewing. Submit your game plan. Hey, this is a good one. Let's do it. Let's throw the ball
to Justin Jefferson. Yeah, it's crazy.
Oh my God.
Oh man. So, all right, Mackey and Judd, daily Minnesota sports, entertainment, therapy, venting, whatever you guys need here. If you're not already following us and subscribe to both of our YouTube channels, Purple Daily and Score North, we're just pumping out daily stuff for all of you, so hit us up. And Feedback Friday, we're taking all your comments in every week and letting you drive the show there, too. And if you missed Ventline yesterday, it was very celebratory. It was like an hour and a half of just, at least, even if for just 1 week, it was a celebration on Ventline. But every Monday, we go through statements from the weekend. Judd, we'll start with you. The floor is yours. Statement number 1, sir.
Okay, statement 1 plays off the Jefferson clip that Declan played to open the show, and the statement is, and I will say this, and then we can play another clip from JJ. The statement is this: "You've got to be kidding me."
Why do you think it took till week 10 for you guys to have this trust, and for you guys to, do what you did?
I'm not really sure. I just go out there and just make the plays when it's thrown to me. So I'm not really sure about that, but I mean, whenever the opportunity is given, I'll definitely run with it.
Okay, hold on a second here. Again, we're in week 10, and Mark Craig of the Star Tribune asks a question we're all thinking, like, okay, what took this long? I consider myself sports dad, sports doctor at times, but my third job is sports detective. And right now I'm going to put I'm going to put the sports detective hat on. So I watched.
There you go. All right. There it is.
Thank you very much.
All right, there you go.
So I watched the Zimmer, Jefferson, and Cousins press conferences from postgame. And if you go through them and piece them together, and the information that they're trying to provide, for the most part lying, but occasionally slipping up and being truthful, you can start to piece together what occurred. At least sort of the outline, right? Because like a detective's not given the case, and hey, here's the case. It's an easy case to solve. It's a difficult case. But if you piece together what those three said separately, and sort of the lies that you caught each of them telling that then came back to a person that sort of told the truth. And the most truthful was Jefferson. What you can ascertain is that something definitely took place that was not Zimmer deciding to throw the football to Jefferson last week. Somebody got to them and said, you guys are idiots. You need to start. And I think it might have been, and I don't know this, but I'm going to speculate. I think Thielen might have blown up. Somebody blew up, because that's what it takes, especially with Mike. You got to blow up at Mike. Like, Mike doesn't back down until you, but if you blow, I think he'll back down. Here's the other telltale thing, which is why they lie so incessantly, and it drives me crazy. The other telltale thing is between Cousins and Jefferson. In a Jefferson comment, he said, Ben Gessling, Star Tribune, asked, there were a lot of plays over the middle. What happened and why? And I think it was Jefferson said they were playing a lot of too high. That opens up, hold on, the middle of the field. Now, do you guys recall the Detroit adjustment, second half? Can't throw to Jefferson too high. They're too high. We can't do a thing about that.
Yeah, too high safety.
Well,
yeah.
But we've talked about this.
He said that last week too, by the way.
Yes, but we've talked about this. There are always answers to and adjustments to what the defense does, right? So when Jefferson says, yeah, too high, opens up opportunities over the middle. That's the adjustment. They literally weren't making common sense football adjustments. And the film nicks basically just buy in by saying, yeah, it's too high. He's gone. He can't do a thing. It's the adjustment. But yeah, this is where the lies come in, because the lie is it's too high. He's gone. It's Dalvin time. He's too high.
Well, that's not a lie. It's just it's almost lazy. They're not lying to you. Yeah, the defense is putting two safeties over the top, and so I don't know what we're supposed to do. Well,
out and just say we failed to adjust. Now we're adjusting. Don't tell me, don't blow smoke up my behind 5 weeks back and tell me, oh, this isn't possible. And now come back and be like, oh, yeah, that opened up opportunities. No belief, Sherlock.
Yeah, it was always, I don't think they're lying to you. I don't know where you're getting the lying part here. But I think what's happening is they're like opposing teams adjust. Maybe they put two safeties over the top. There's all kinds of adjustments defenses make. And the Vikings just like stopped the chess game there. Oh, I guess we'll throw to Conklin more now. Like, no, you're not the only team in NFL history. Go back in Vikings history. You think teams weren't putting safeties over the top on Randy Moss? Like, they found ways to get him the ball over the middle of the field, crossing patterns. I think what frustrates me is not the lying. It's that they acted like, well, I mean, you guys, well, go watch the film. They're putting two safeties over the top. We're just doing what the defense is giving us. It's like, well, then you're going to lose. You're not the only team in the NFL that has to adjust with a great wide receiver or two to what defenses are trying to do to take those guys away.
The lie, in my opinion, is them thinking that we're so stupid that we will just say, oh, okay. And because fans do that. Like, there are fans that say, well, the Vikings told us they couldn't do that. That's the lie. The lie is trying to sell us that your story, your word's perfect, Phil. You're lazy. You're lazy, and so you're just like, well, there's nothing that we can do about it. Well, that's BS. Come on.
All right, I have a statement that kind of follows up what Judd just said. Judd's hot this morning. I mean, The Vikings just beat the brakes off the Chargers in the passing game yesterday. And here you are calling people liars this morning. I mean, look at you.
Oh, football people lie incessantly. It's sports lying. They lie constantly.
All right,
sports lying.
My first statement is two simple words. Aggressiveness wins. And I'm going to give you guys a blind resume sort of comparison here, okay? Yesterday in the NFL, two teams trying to bust out of their respective slumps. We'll call them teams A and teams B, okay? Both teams got aggressive on fourth down. They went for it inside the 5-yard line trying to score a touchdown instead of kicking a field goal from 28 yards out. Both teams attempted to fake a punt. Both teams drove the ball down the field in the passing game. And both teams put extra emphasis on targeting their top weapons and wide receivers. And both teams, as a result, broke out of their slumps. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Minnesota Vikings. Now, the Chiefs, I feel like, even when they were struggling, were still aggressive. They were just like turning the ball over and stuff. But going forward inside the 5-yard line, aggressive, check. The fake punt, the Vikings tried. I don't think it would have worked, even if they would have got that snap off yesterday. But I like it. Let's do it. And I couldn't believe what I was seeing late in that game with the Vikings. 3rd down and 20. It's just such a classic draw play situation. Like, all right, we're backed up here. Let's just run some more clock. And let's let the defense bail us out here. We'll just run the ball here, make sure we don't get squirrely and throw an interception, and the defense can ice this game for us. Well, Justin Herbert leads the NFL in fourth quarter comebacks, even though he's not perfect all the time. Like, he has 4 fourth quarter comebacks. And so in that moment, for Mike Zimmer, Kirk Cousins to realize, we need to throw the ball on 3rd and 20, and not just like a tricked up smoke screen or tight end screen to Conklin, a conservative. No, we need to drive the ball down the field and get as close to a first down as we can. And sure enough, Cousins drops back, and I'm like, wow, we're doing this. And he throws a ball over the middle to Adam Thielen.
Yep.
18-yard gain, sets up a 4th down. All right. Well, what are they going to do now? Punt or kick a field goal from 55 yards, right? Those are basically the two options we've seen time and time again. Going to go for it and give the ball to Dalvin Cook instead of Alex Madison, like in Seattle last year. Dalvin Cook's going to pick up those 2 yards. And he did. And I was just like, yes. Stop being so paralyzed by what could go wrong, and stop being so obsessed with letting your defense win the game. Throw the ball down the field. You got 2 of the best weapons in the NFL in the passing game, Dalvin Cook, and they did it yesterday. Aggressiveness wins, and the Vikings found that out yesterday.
What's their record right now if they had played the entire season like they did Sunday?
What is enough? So they're 4-5.
But, I mean, they're all one-score games.
They beat the Ravens. Because they let their foot off the gas after the scripted plays.
They beat the Browns. I mean, they only had 7. They scored in the opening drive, and then they were scoreless the rest of the game. They beat the Browns.
Probably 6 wins. Probably have 6 wins, 6-3.
Yeah, like if you just go, just say let's go.
Time.
Let's go.
I would, you know what? If you go for it on 4th down and don't get it, I still applaud you. Like if they had gone for it and Cook got stopped, I'd be like, well, that's too bad, but good for you. Good for you for at least saying, let's go for it. Let's not just try and kick a long field goal that gets blocked.
Teams are like, Mike Zimmer is guilty of this too, that, well, we trust our defense, therefore we should punt. No. If you trust your defense, you should be even more aggressive offensively, because if you whiff in that spot, oh man, now I guess we're giving them pretty good field position. Good thing we trust our defense. It allows our offense to be more aggressive because we trust our defense. What a novel concept. Aggressiveness, baby. All right, Declan.
All right, my opening statement, and I heard there might be a speed trap for a hot take cop that's around the corner, so I'll see what happens here. But my statement is, Mike Zimmer is adapting. Mike Zimmer is adapting. His post-game comments, I'll get to here in just a little bit, but he goes into this game, right, and his defense is without Danielle Hunter, Patrick Peterson, Harrison Smith, and you have to go against Lamar Jackson the previous week, Justin Herbert this week. Justin Herbert leading the league in fourth quarter comebacks, and you hold him to 195 yards. That's a season low. Just 5.7 yards per attempt, and the Chargers only get 253 yards per game. For all these players being out, Mike Zimmer deserves a ton of credit. Lamar Jackson was held in check for that entire first half in Baltimore. He put the clamps down on Justin Herbert, who looks to be the next big quarterback star in this league. And then this is the most, I think, important thing that Mike Zimmer is adapting to the point of his offense being aggressive. He said in his post-game press conference that when it got in the fourth quarter, I knew we'd been there a few times. So I was trying to figure out ways how we're going to win the game. I told Clint, be aggressive, try to go and score. And unfortunately, we get a 1st and 20 on that drive and then a 4th and 2. But there's no way we're not going to try to win the game right there. End quote. Now, is he coaching for a job a little bit? That's it. He's adapting. He's adapting.
He got called into the principal's office.
That's fine.
I guarantee it.
I've been called in the principal's office.
Yeah, but he's adapting because he's being forced to. He was sent to bed with no dinner. I'm not giving him credit for this.
Okay, so our two-part question for Judd here. How much of your theory on Thielen is just like an educated guess versus
somebody went crazy? And he
do you think it was from above or below Mike Zimmer?
I think it was both. And I think that Thielen's press conferences were so for him, that's as hard as he's going to go publicly. If he went that hard publicly, it was tenfold internally. Something happened. Mike is spinning a fairy tale in that press conference. That's the world according to how Mike thinks that game went. Because and by the way, they won, which is cool. But I'm just saying, don't believe what he's saying. Something occurred where they finally said, think about this, you guys. It took 10 weeks to get to essentially a game plan that any of us would have installed in week 1.
But at the same time, like, I understand that it's frustrating. It took us to week 10, but all right, now it's go time. Now they've figured it out. I think it's a good sign they've adapted.
Okay, dial that back a little bit, though, because the stubborn old man might still be stubborn. Let's just see.
Well, let's go through, so real quick, whether it was a hostage situation and he had people in the front office, behind him. Mike, go talk to Justin. Mike, we're going to throw the ball to Thielen. I don't like, however it happened. After the game was over, Mike Zimmer went up, and I don't know if maybe we have a clip that reflects some of this, but he's addressing reporters after the game, and he said he's the one that went to Justin Jefferson midweek and said, Justin, you're going to get the ball more. trust me, like, hey, I'm the head coach here. We're going to make this happen. And he also said, and he confirmed that he is still having the Thursday meetings with Kirk Cousins, so they are still doing that. 45 minutes, just depending on if the linebacker meeting ran long. And he told Kirk Cousins in that meeting on Thursday, hey, guy, we need to be more aggressive, threading the needle. Let's get the ball to the top wide receivers. And I'm paraphrasing here, but he said we can't throw it 5 yards on 2nd and long. We got to push the ball down the field. And if it's a 50-50 ball, you got to trust your guys. And I heard him saying that after the game, and I'm like, I don't care if it's like the Wilf family with a dagger like behind their trench coat, or if it was Adam Thielen lighting him up. That's exactly what a head coach should be doing. He should be he should be taking his quarterback aside. Hey, guy, listen, this is what needs to happen, okay? So it sounds like Judd's just skeptical about the way that Zimmer came to that enlightenment.
Yes, I'm very
and
skeptical.
Declan and I are like, who cares, baby? Let's extension, 3-year extension.
Exactly.
Forget Kellen Moore. Mike Zimmer.
I mean, it's a ventriloquist with a Zimmer doll. Okay, Kirk, you should throw the ball deep down the field more. Honest to God, but I mean, yeah, that's fine. I am far from a Kirk stan, and I am far from a Kirk fan. But the reality is this: do I really believe that Kirk Cousins was the only one saying Jefferson, I can't really throw there? I believe he's part of the problem, yes. But Mike has a way of deflecting things away from Mike. Like, I came in and fixed it. Come on.
Yeah, okay.
Right. And you got a coordinator who is scared of his own shadow.
You like that?
I like that.
This goes back to my long-held frustration. If I could have done this 10 weeks ago, why did it take you so long? Like, if you're a football savant and genius and you come up with a scheme, prime Zim example, the Saints playoff game there, right? Unbelievable game plan. Total credit to him there. Yesterday, though, come on, common sense told you.
And it wasn't even, in fairness to you, it wasn't
Phil's
even like,
right,
it wasn't even that many targets. Like, it was 11 targets to Justin Jefferson.
But I mean, you literally forfeited wins until yesterday. Explain that one to me.
Oh, Declan and I are happy. I don't know.
Okay.
Judd just he's going to have to see it at least one more time against Green Bay.
Oh God, yeah. No, twice.
We all will.
Times.
We all will.
Come
in
on,
fairness.
Ebenezer.
Yeah, we're not putting a banner up for a win at the Chargers.
Thank you very much. I'm actually going to, if I may, piggyback off Declan though, and say this: you didn't need them, and Declan just said it. Think about all of the defensive guys that you went out and re-signed, and the defensive guy. I need more defense, Rick. We got to rebuild this. Because in part we started Shamar Stephen last year, who was awful. Instead of going out and signing, for instance, a guard, right? Look at the guys who are out now, and what's Mike's strength? Mike's strength is defense. That's awesome. He's good at it. Mike's strength, to Dex's point, game planning that. The last 2 QBs have been really good, and you've done a nice job against both of them. You've done it without, let's go through the list. Michael Pierce. Now, yesterday, Anthony Barr, Harrison Smith, Patrick Peterson. Because you're a good defensive coach. So if I give you, so I can go to the store and I can buy you ingredients that are pretty good. They don't have to be Pro Bowl, but they're pretty good, right? And you do a good job. Awesome.
And we don't even need the 85 Bears defense out of it.
That's what I'm saying.
Just a non-train wreck defense.
But like Declan's point, I think is the most spot on in that sense. And that's what sort of frustrates you again. Your offense could have been even better if you had said, Mike, the 2020, the ingredients that we got you last year were awful. We're sorry. We're going to fix that. But we're not going to fix it by going out and just signing all defense, another defensive tackle. So if you look at this, think about this one. Think about if you had Ezra Cleveland at right guard, you had signed a left guard, and you had given Mike what Mike had on Sunday. You did a pretty damn good job, right?
Yeah.
You didn't need him.
I'll say this too. I mean, it was one game, but like Nick Vigil was pretty good in that game.
Awesome.
He was the 4th highest graded
He's better
player.
than Barr right now.
Yeah, he's more available than Barr.
Well, Barr's
I don't know if
knee
he's better than Barr, but yeah, Barr's knee has been a problem.
I think with Barr's knee bad, I think it's chronic. Barr 5 years back was a different person as far as a player goes.
But here's another one. Somewhere along the line, Mike Zimmer and even the front office lost trust in young players because they drafted so many young players on defense and cornerbacks, and it's like they got really impatient in some areas. And then like even with Cam Dantzler, it was like, yeah, he wasn't going to be a perfect product going into his second year, but he showed some flashes, and then they just lost trust, and they kind of like they bumped him down the depth chart in preseason. They said, "All right, get out of here. We're going to go bring Breland and Patrick Peterson in here, right?" Who was the highest graded player the last 2 weeks combined on defense for the Vikings? Cam Bynum. Trust yourselves. You don't need to be signing ridiculous long-term extensions for 32-year-olds like Harrison Smith, and I mean Xavier Woods has been good, but like it's like they draft players and they lean on defense, and then if it's not great or if it's not Pro Bowl caliber after 5 minutes, they're like, "Oh, we're out. Bring veterans in here." So you can't be wasting draft capital and free agency money on all these defensive players and then alienate right guard and alienate center with a pocket passing course. So the roster construction still bothers me, but all in all, like the fact that Cam Bynum had another great game is even more evidence that like you got to find a starting spot for that guy almost certainly next year.
Great.
Maybe even find a spot for him this year, but I don't know. Like Xavier Woods is playing well too, and you're not going to bench Harrison Smith because he's maybe not as good as he was 3 years ago, but he's still Harrison Smith. This next statement presented by our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. The Vikings, they took risks yesterday, all right? Now, there's things that could happen to your business, whether it be due to cold weather, like we're going to experience here for the next few months, or whatever else. And Federated's here to help mitigate and manage risk and protect your bottom line, protect your employees. They've been around for over 100 years. Federated Insurance and federatedinsurance.com. Remember, at Federated, it's our business to protect yours. All right, my next statement here for you guys. People act like the Vikings losing games close is bad luck. Well, look at what their record could be if they weren't so unlucky. Mm-hmm. It's not bad luck. And the first half showed you exactly why. The second half, different story. But the first half, they dominated the Chargers. They got, literally every facet, yardage, time of possession. They forced a huge turnover, everything. And yet they were only up by 3 points because of penalties. And I don't want to hear that the refs screwed the Vikings. There were some bad the Vikings were holding. The Vikings were hand fighting. They took a 3-point lead into halftime because they melt down in the final 2 minutes defensively. They also can't score in the final 2 minutes offensively because they're too conservative, et cetera, et cetera. I just think, look at the first half and why you weren't up by 2 touchdowns. Same thing against the Ravens. Why was that game even close after the first 2 or 3 quarters? You dominated the Ravens, got big turnovers, right? Play like you did in the second half against the Chargers all the time in terms of how aggressive you are, pushing the ball down the field, not just sitting on a 7-point lead and running the ball and letting the defense take care of it. Justin Jefferson was right last week when he said these don't have to be close games. It doesn't have to be a grinded-out 3-point game, every time. And so stop acting like losing close games is bad luck. Take more control of the situation and your destiny.
Yes, and I think that if you lose like 2, that can be bad luck, right? That's tough. But I think when it gets to be more than 2, that is exactly what you just said, Phil. Like there's a point in time where you can't just continue to go back to, it was another close game, right? So that's bad luck. So yeah, I think a certain amount of, tough loss, close loss, but when there are just clear, that Baltimore game at the half should have been 21-3. Like they should have scored. Baltimore shouldn't have scored. And 21-3, that's a pretty good lead. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that. I agree.
My next statement, back to the wide receivers, is continue to trust and lean into your wide receivers. This note from a former friend of the show, or friend of the show, Andrew Kramer.
Former
Vikings,
friend. No,
I
not
meant
friends
friend.
anymore.
Wow.
Current friend.
What did he
Actually,
friend?
Andrew Kramer
Well, then he
is
wouldn't be
one
my
of the forefathers of Purple
Of.
Daily. It was
Yes, he
originally
is.
a weekly podcast called Purple Podcast.
Purple
Andrew, Judd, myself, Derek Wetmore. So Andrew Kramer is a founding father of this show.
An OG
He's
of
not
the show.
Former friend.
Friendly friend of the show.
No,
the Vikings.
we don't make eye contact with him anymore.
Not at all. I haven't looked at any of those guys in 18 months. Vikings targeting Justin Jefferson on third down yesterday against the Chargers. First pass incomplete, but they still went towards him. The next time, 3rd and 15, 18 yards. The next time on 3rd and long, a defensive pass interference, automatic first down. 3rd and 5, 12 yards. 3rd and 6, 27 yards. Yep. Basically iced the game or came close to it. You need to trust your wide receivers more. Again, kudos to Mike Zimmer for adapting and calling a big passing plays and trusting your playmakers here in key situations. Yesterday, Thielen and Jefferson combined for 18 targets. 11 for Jefferson, 7 for Adam Thielen. That should be the norm. 18 targets for both of those guys. I think that should be absolutely the floor of what we should be getting the ball to with your two best wide receivers. So continue to lean in and trust your wide receivers and playmakers, especially in key situations like this on third down.
I personally feel more comfortable on 3rd and 15 with a 6-yard flat route to C.J. Ham or Alex Madison. On that 3rd and 10, maybe a little tight end screen to Tyler Conklin. And on the 3rd and 6, maybe a 4-yard sort of crossing route, blanket covered to, I don't know, KJ Osborne or something. I think those are the ones I'm most comfortable with. This is a really interesting set of stats here. So 3rd downs, you're throwing past the sticks, and you're throwing to Justin Jefferson. And only once in 5 tries did it fail. So 80% of the time, you're either getting chunks, 12, 18, 27 yards, or the thing that they don't even think about is he's so good that he's going to draw 1 or 2 defensive pass interferences in a game, right?
Yep.
Because you can't cover him. And Adam Thielen's still a great route runner too. He's the same way.
That DPI flag that he drew was on a bad throw, but it doesn't matter.
Yep, his shoulder pad was hanging out. It's very obvious DPI call. Judd, you want to sneak one more in here before we get to Randy and Cottage Grove?
And again, this is why the win was good, and so like for all of the fans out there who said, well, yeah, but I mean it cost them a higher draft pick, blah blah blah. No, here's why. The statement is this: we saw the future. What we saw yesterday is what an offensive coach, especially a good one, is going to do every Sunday. Yesterday was Zim basically teed it up on a platter and said, I won't be here, but I'm going to show you what this can look like. That was, I think, what we saw on Sunday with Jefferson, Thielen, Cousins perhaps as well. Cook, tip of the iceberg of the future. And that's fun to watch. Like, think about just as a football fan, how much more enjoyable that game was to watch than some of the, as Phil's talked about, the incessant draw plays, right? Yeah. It's 3rd and 20. We don't have any chance. Let's just run a draw play. Oh, Cook got 10 yards. Hooray. And now we can punt. What we saw yesterday is what should be installed. Just the beginning, too. Like, there will be way more. Just the beginning of what we're going to see, hopefully, in 2022 going forward. And Jefferson, the focal point.
The Vikings are like, I don't know if you guys remember when you were in like swim class or something back in the day, and like you were like the high dive for the first time. Like, oh my God. Like you're seeing everyone else jump off of it, and no one's dying. In fact, a lot of people are having fun jumping off it. And then you get up there and you're like, oh my God, this looks dangerous. We better not do this, right? Oh no, it's 3rd and 18. We better not throw a pass down the field. Something terrible could happen. No, like, a lot of the other teams do it. The Bills do it. It's great. The Cardinals
Everybody's
do it.
doing it.
The Tampa does it. It's crazy. Look at these teams. Aaron Rodgers does it. These teams are playing in Super Bowls.
But I want this team, like, I love the fact that game was fun. I thought offensively, especially in the second half, that game was fun to watch.
I mean, when they, on 3rd and 20, clock ticking down, would you have bet, I mean, where did 18-yard pass through the air to Adam Thielen rank on the things you thought you would see on that 3rd and 20 play in the fourth?
Probably about 5th. I was going 8-yard pass, like possible draw play, but I was probably
going
8-yard pass, and Conklin can rumble for a few more, and then maybe he can get a first down, and then you're screwed.
Football.
But I just want like my starting point for the teams here. My end point, championship. My starting point, just be fun to watch.
Yeah. Boys, it's our first stud stable in like a month on the show here.
He was crying last week, so I'm really happy.
Tears of joy.
Tears of joy. With the Randy and Cottage Grove stud stable here.